Joyce Polino Crane here with Mary McCauley, a local realtor, who I'm going to ask a few questions of. Prices. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
Welcome to our humble virtual computer. I was wondering if you could speak to the real estate market in Westford and beyond, maybe, northeastern United States. Apparently, people are bidding over asking prices for houses because there just aren't enough. What do you know about this?
Right. So you're absolutely correct, Joyce. Prices have been just bananas. What's been going on? So I've done, I sent out something recently. It was, and I've been doing this a couple of months in a row. And I've just taken the 30-day sale prices, what they listed for and what they sold for in Westford, single family homes, and taken a look at the data. And what I've noticed is that, especially in our town, there are a lot of homes in the $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 range that's their list price, and they'll go as much as $125,000 over asking. And we've seen a lot of that even at other price ranges of 50, 70. It's slowed down a little bit in some of those other price ranges, and just recently it's slowed down a little bit, come down where it's not so 125,000. There was one in Westford, $225,000 over a listing. Wow. And that was sort of in the 900, it went over $1 million range. So, what that tells me is possibly they had another house to sell. And so they got, hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity that they cashed out and took out of their home when they sold their previous home. And now they're putting it all into a new, bigger home. Hopefully it's not all cash, but because interest rates are so low, so it's a great time to buy and take advantage of that. But in this market, one of the big worries is the appraisal gap, so that the house won't appraise, and then it's not a good deal for the lender. So buyers have had to bring cash to close that appraisal gap, or sellers have had to try to come down a little bit in their price in order to cover that. But we've seen mostly buyers making up the difference.
Wow. So you've just touched upon some of my questions. I was going to ask you, when I talk to you and other realtors in town, it's not like this is happy, a happy thing. It always seems like realtors seem like they're walking a tightrope. Why isn't it good for a realtor that these housing prices are going up?
Well, it makes it harder to get your buyers' offers accepted. And we've put in, with the same buyer, you could put in 15 offers. You could be one of 12 or 7, multiple offer situation. And we've had to get creative. There is an inventory shortage. So, not enough homes on the market. And when there are just too many buyers for each of the homes.
And so what do you predict is going to happen when the assessments come in?
Well, so we've seen some houses come back on the market for various reasons, but some of them are because the appraisal just came in too low, and then the buyers didn't have the cash to make up the difference. So they walked away from that. And we've seen, one of the options is to try to negotiate the sales price down in order to just keep the deal together. Because by the time you get to appraisal, that house has been off the market for a few weeks. So, usually a seller just likes the buyer they have that they're working with, and they try to, we as realtors try to make it win. Try to make it work. We want a win-win situation for everyone.
Yeah, so I can understand that. I'm just wondering if, if prices come down, people go into these homes, pay extra, hundreds of thousands extra to get into it. And then what if the market drops or, something happens externally that will affect their ownership of the house?
Well, hopefully they've locked in these low rates that are under 3 or right around 3 for 30 years. So, their payments won't be affected. But you're right. If you're not planning on living in your home for, if this isn't your forever home and you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, over what the list price is, you could run the risk of not recouping that same price when you go to sell it. If you say you were transferred in your job or something happened and you needed to move in 2 years, we just don't know, or 5 years. I mean, in 30 years, with, or last maybe 15-year mortgage, you've paid it off and then you're all right. But the other thing I will say is that, New England typically, historically, doesn't have as big a dips as other places in the country. Real estate here is sought after and pretty solid and sort of always has been.
Yes.
So, it's a good investment in that way. We've seen a lot of people invest in properties, take their cash and buy multifamilies, as a source of income down the road.
I actually owned a multifamily many years ago, 4 units. I lived in one. It was probably the best investment I ever made. It was amazing. A cash cow.
Yep. And
But
it's
now-
a good time. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there but a lot of buyers too. I'll have the same idea. It is. It's a good long-term investment, and it is something, I've seen a lot of first-time home buyers buy a multi and live in one of the units, and the other, couple of units, the other renters pay their mortgage.
Yeah, so they're well on their way to doing well in life. It's a good move.
Yep.
So is there anything else you'd like to share with the community before we end this?
No, I don't think so. Just, Westford has always been a great town with our schools and our reputation, and it's always been a great market to work in and live in.
For sure, I agree with that. Thank you so much, Mary. For
Thank you, Joy.
WestfordCAT News, this is Joyce Polino Crane.